December 2nd, 1993. Inside a two-story house in Medellin, Pablo Escobar is speaking to his son by telephone. Outside, Colombian police teams are moving through the surrounding streets. Electronic direction-finding equipment is narrowing the location of his signal. For 16 months, Escobar has escaped raids, informants, rival criminals, and one of the largest manhunts Colombia has ever organized. Now, one telephone call is bringing them to his door. This is the hunt for Pablo Escobar. To understand why finding one man required an international operation, it helps to understand the system protecting him. During the 1980s, the Medellin Cartel developed a cocaine network stretching far beyond Colombia. Aircraft, boats, hidden airstrips, warehouses, and distribution cells moved shipments toward the United States. The profits funded more routes, more protection, and more violence. Escobar was not the cartel's only operator, but he became its most visible leader. He cultivated two identities at the same time. In some poor neighborhoods around Medellin, he financed housing and football fields. This helped create an image of a local benefactor. For people receiving help that the government had failed to provide, the source of the money could feel less important than the money itself. But the same organization threatened officials, bribed police officers, and targeted anyone considered an obstacle. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, the Medellin Cartel was waging a campaign against the Colombian state. Police officers, judges, journalists, political figures, and civilians were killed. A commercial aircraft was destroyed in 1989, killing everyone aboard. Bombings turned public streets and government buildings into targets. The objective was not simply to protect cocaine shipments. It was to make governing Colombia too expensive. The cartel's greatest fear was extradition. A prison sentence inside Colombia could potentially be influenced through money, threats, or political connections. Extradition to the United States removed much of that control. Escobar therefore needed more than a hiding place. He needed an agreement. In June 1991, he surrendered to Colombian authorities under a deal that protected him from extradition. He was confined at La Catedral, a detention facility on the forested hills above Envigado, overlooking Medellin. Calling it a conventional prison would be misleading. The facility offered Escobar privacy, access to associates, and a level of control unavailable to an ordinary inmate. Men loyal to him operated around the compound. Visitors came and went. Available reporting indicates that he remained involved in cartel activity from inside. For the Colombian government, the arrangement removed a wanted man from public view. For Escobar, it created a protected headquarters. That balance collapsed in 1992. Two of Escobar's former associates, Fernando Galeano and Gerardo Moncada, entered La Catedral and did not return. According to later testimony and reporting, they were killed inside the facility after a dispute involving money and control of cartel operations. News of the killings created a political crisis. The government decided to transfer Escobar to a more secure military prison. Colombian officials arrived at La Catedral in July 1992, but the facility had been built around Escobar's needs. Its isolation, internal layout, and compromised security now worked against the state. During the confused attempt to take control of the compound, Escobar escaped. He disappeared into the hills. The prison agreement was over. The manhunt had begun. Colombia formed a specialized police unit known as the Search Block. Colonel Hugo Martinez became one of the central commanders associated with the operation. The United States supplied assistance through agencies, including the Drug Enforcement Administration. Their problem was not identifying the fugitive. His face was known around the world. Their problem was locating him inside a city where he had spent years buying loyalty, building criminal networks, and preparing places to hide. Medellin sits inside a steep valley. Dense neighborhoods climb the surrounding slopes. Roads curve between concrete buildings. Houses share walls, roofs, and narrow passages. A target can disappear behind one doorway and emerge several buildings away. Escobar also understood the methods being used against him. Long telephone conversations could reveal a location. Predictable movement created patterns. Large security teams attracted attention, so his world became smaller. He relied on safe houses, trusted messengers, and a shrinking group of guards. Communications had to be limited. Movement became dangerous. Every arrested associate could become a source. Every confiscated document could reveal another address. The search block conducted raids based on tips and surveillance. Some arrived too late. Others captured members of the organization, but missed Escobar. This was the central frustration of the hunt. Escobar did not need to defeat the police. He only needed to leave a room before they entered it. But the search was not being conducted by the police alone. In early 1993, a clandestine organization appeared under the name Los Pepes. The name came from a Spanish phrase meaning people persecuted by Pablo Escobar. Its members were enemies of Escobar. They reportedly included people linked to rival traffickers, former associates, and paramilitary figures. Los Pepes attacked properties connected to Escobar and killed people accused of supporting his organization. The group presented its campaign as revenge. In practice, it operated as an illegal death squad. The relationship between Los Pepes and official forces remains one of the darkest parts of the manhunt. Declassified United States records later indicated that members of the Colombian task force had contact with Fidel Castaño, a leader associated with Los Pepes, and that intelligence may have been exchanged. The complete extent of that cooperation is still not publicly established. Many relevant records remained classified, and Colombian officials publicly rejected private groups taking over the role of law enforcement. But the effect on Escobar's network was visible. Properties were destroyed. Associates were attacked. Family members feared retaliation. Routes that had once connected money, information, and protection began breaking apart. The search block was hunting the man. Los Pepes was dismantling the world around him. This created a strange convergence. Police officers wanted an arrest. American agencies wanted the cartel disrupted. Rival traffickers wanted Escobar removed. Paramilitary figures had their own motives. All of them benefited from the same target becoming isolated. But they didn't operate under the same rules. As the months passed, Escobar attempted to negotiate again. He sent messages to officials and tried to secure protection for his family. The balance had changed. In 1991, he had surrendered while still powerful enough to demand conditions. In 1993, his organization was fractured and his enemies were surrounding him. His family became his greatest vulnerability. Escobar had built his survival around secrecy, but he continued communicating with the people closest to him. Technical teams monitored these communications and searched for signals that could be converted into a physical address. Radio direction finding does not need to understand the emotion inside a conversation. It only needs the transmission to continue. Investigators can compare the direction of a signal from different positions. One reading creates a line. Additional readings reduce the search area. The longer or more frequently a transmitter operates, the more opportunities the search team receives. For Escobar, every call carried two messages. One went to his family. The other went to the hunters. By late 1993, the search block had spent more than a year pursuing him. United States Justice Department records would later describe the effort as an exhausting, day-to-day investigation. Teams had searched houses, followed associates, and processed repeated intelligence reports. The pressure also created mistakes. A city contains thousands of radios and telephones. Buildings interfere with signals. traffic slows movement. A location can be identified correctly and still be empty when officers arrive. Escobar had survived because the search process was slower than his escape process. On December 1st, 1993, he turned 44. The next day, he contacted his son, Juan Pablo. Escobar had reason to believe his family was under pressure. Speaking with them provided comfort, information, and a connection to the life he had lost. It also kept the signal active. A surveillance team detected the transmission. Directional finding equipment narrowed its source to a residential area in Medellin. The information moved to the Colombian police. This time, the target did not move first. Search block officers approached the house. Escobar was inside with a bodyguard, commonly identified by the alias El Limon. When the officers entered, the two men attempted to escape across adjoining rooftops. The chase moved above the street. Escobar reached the tiled roof wearing jeans and a blue shirt. Gunfire followed. His bodyguard was killed. Escobar was struck multiple times and died on the roof. The official account states that Colombian police shot and killed him during the escape attempt. Photographs show search block members gathered around his body after the operation. But one question was never completely silenced. Escobar suffered a wound near his ear. Members of his family later claimed he had always said he would shoot himself rather than be captured, and argued that the fatal wound was self-inflicted. Colombian police maintained that their officers killed him. The public evidence confirms the location, the pursuit, and the exchange of gunfire. It does not resolve every competing claim about which bullet ended his life. What is clear is that the signal had led the search block to the correct house. The 16-month hunt was over. Escobar's death broke the symbolic center of the Medellin cartel. Surviving operators were arrested, killed, absorbed by competitors, or reorganized into smaller networks. The Cali cartel gained influence. Later organizations adopted quieter structures designed to avoid producing another figure as visible as Escobar. This is the contradiction at the center of the operation. The police succeeded in finding the world's most recognizable drug trafficker. They dismantled much of the organization carrying his name. They proved that wealth, local protection, and political terror could not guarantee permanent safety. But they did not eliminate the market that had created him. Cocaine routes changed. Criminal groups fragmented. Large cartels became networks. A single kingpin was replaced by operators who understood the danger of becoming famous. Escobar had turned himself into the face of the system. That made him powerful. It also made him traceable. On December 2nd, 1993, an electronic signal ended inside a house in Medellin. The officers left the rooftop with the man they had been ordered to find. The signal stopped. The system did not.